So, hi everybody, and welcome to the first round of playoffs. We had four games, and we are going to start with Stephen Finneroli and Tig on Cal Poly. Go for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You guys can see, the score. It looks like I missed a try. It was supposed to be 87-10, I think. Um, but it was a great game. Like it was, the score's not reflective of it. It was two teams who were just ready to just play some great rugby. And I think going back to last week's meeting, I was really focused on just kind of making sure that I was out of the way and letting them do their thing. You know, um, just looking at this first screen, the thing that kind of pops out to me, and this was evident during the game, nine penalties against Cal in the first half. There were probably about six against them in the first 15 minutes.
Uh,
Um, and then, maybe one more about 6 minutes later. So, just so there you go. Let's see.
yeah,
One, two, you know, um,
It was one less than you thought. You'd coded one the
okay,
wrong color.
okay. So, obviously the trends and, it was an opportunity to kind of have that conversation, with the team, with the captain, but eventually it became too much and, a card was warranted. Um, I don't know if there's more to talk about here, Tig, unless you want to, we can go to the clips.
I think just go to I mean, you and I haven't really had a chance to discuss the
uh,
overall game, so it's not a fair way to do that.
I, I also just want to say one thing though, even though you have the situation here, like ones that are line out more, ones sort of foul play, and it's sometimes difficult to go and focus in on a team when it's sort of in a range of areas, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
and that was kind of where my head was. But the
mhm,
ones that were the pattern that was there
mhm.
was, Cal slowing the ball down when they're put under pressure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And whether that amount of cards or whether that number of penalty warranted a card, Tig and
mhm,
I will have to debate, and that's another, that's a later conversation. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we're kind of all over the place, and it wasn't like, it was, tackle, 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 and it was just,
yeah.
it was flagrant. But it was clear that, the theme was, whether it was laziness, or intentional. And again, and I wrote in my notes that, laziness is a tactic for slowing the ball down. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, that, they were, not working hard to get out of the way.
Yeah, and I think it's important. The message here too is that what Stephen said is that when teams are under pressure, as we're getting into the playoffs now, these are higher level teams. When they're under pressure, they're definitely going to push the envelope, and it's up to us as the referee to make sure that we create that environment that's always fair to both teams.
Yeah.
So let's go to the
I
clips.
think I think the one place, and we'll see them also in the clips, where I think Stephen definitely became more aware of it as he was reviewing, is Cal was definitely pushing the envelope on Cal Poly's scrums, and
Mhm.
he didn't probably clamp down as quickly as he could have, should have.
Okay, which one? Where do you want to start?
I think we can probably start with maybe the more contentious. And so there's a Richard, do you maybe want to refresh this page? I think I just put one in maybe a minute or two before. So
Quick
let's do
throw, driving up.
let's do the second one, driving up or legal.
Okay.
So I think this is maybe this is Cal Poly's maybe second or third scrum. Um, you know, I'd already had a word with, Cal about the fact that, on their put-ins there aren't issues. But on this one, in the moment it looked like a good, strong forward push. But it's the video, right, shows that, they take maybe a step or two forward, and then it just kind of goes haywire. So Tig, I'm sure you want to add some commentary there.
It's close, whether they get the drive on first and then it falls apart, or if they're driving up right at that first step to depower Cal Poly.
Yeah,
Is Ross on
difficult
the
to tell.
line? Is Ross
Yeah,
on?
I'm on. Yeah, I I think you are walking a tightrope of losing maybe a bit of credibility if you don't give that to the blue team. I think they go forward enough before going up to win that.
Yeah. That's why I asked your opinion.
Ross, I agreed with you, and that's why I gave blue the penalty. But
that's fine.
Yeah, I think that the ball's definitely put in before they push, right? So I think it's a fair call.
Okay.
There's another one. That first one, Richard says quick throw. So I can't say that I've seen this all too often, especially in a tight playoff game, but teams wanted to run. And I think we can in the moment, right? I thought the ball was closer to the 22, and that's why I was happy to kind of let the quick throw on. I think it goes out, 2-3 meters south of that, and I think there's plenty of people around. But I don't know. Unless anyone does want to, say that they should have had it. But I think in this one, I'm content to say that I got it wrong.
How so?
It's kind of at the edge. There's so many people at the line, at where the line of touch is.
Well, Richard, I think you see there's Cal Poly, I want to say 6. Cal Poly 6 is on the ground, and that's about where the ball went out. And when the tackle went down, or I'm sorry, when the ball went out, the video now, it looks like there's, originally 2 players from each team there.
I don't know. I just play on there.
It was a good athletic.
Okay, that's what he did.
Yeah. The teams,
yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting clip. It's close.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think Cal weren't paying attention enough anyway. So they weren't like they were there on the line of touch waiting for the line out, So I think it's fair just to play on.
Hey, I've probably this may be the last one, but the third clip, Richard, says extra roll. And this is something just to be aware of, with, I don't want to single out one team, but, teams will, do this. And I knew this from having seen Cal prior. Under pressure, they'll take that extra roll, right, and make it look like it's still part of their body momentum, et cetera.
Absolutely.
And again, it's one of those things that's done under pressure.
Absolutely. And it's happened a lot. It does happen quite a lot. It's not just this team. It's there's going to be a turnover and then the player rolls again, for sure. So it's 100% accurate call. Yeah, it's happened quite a few times this season. That's an excellent call too. Great stuff.
Hey Steve,
is that your time?
Can I ask you a quick question before you scamper off?
I got time for you, Tim.
Great. There's a line out at 7:07. It's Cal Poly line out. Minute 7:07.
Number 8. Sure.
And Cal Poly wins their own line out.
For today's first round match of the National
This jumper.
And so movement here.
He's a 36-13 defeat.
No, hang on. I think
They're too nice inside ball by the Mustangs.
I'm just trying to see what is the time on here?
On mine, I'm just looking at the game clock. It's
the game clock.
Yeah, sorry, 7:15. It's just a little technical piece. Can you hear me there?
Going up.
Yeah, but hang on. Let me pull it up or whatever, because I don't think anybody has it.
Yeah.
Tim, is it first half or second half?
Sorry, first half, Steve.
It's this one, right?
Sorry, I got on 2 screens. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to do 2 screens here, but
is that it?
Yeah. There you go. Sorry, I'm with you. So we just have this little mini drive, and you have an infraction. Why do you not allow the quick tap?
It felt really just with Cal, the 5 was still there, right? And I don't know, right or wrong, but Cal was still there, and I just don't think that I wanted to create more chaos by having guys who, he was on the ground, guys running into each other. And, I think that, maybe Cal Poly's point would be that they had a try right there. And I'd say absolutely. And again, I'm happy to say that I'm wrong on that, but just in the moment, that's kind of where I was, that it felt really, messy to begin with.
Oh,
Well, also the question is, where's the mark? Because if you considered the line out over, he's got to take it from behind where it landed. And if it's while the line out was still on, the mark is 15 meters in. But regardless, he's not at it.
Yeah, the mark will be here because the line out was over, right? Because they landed in the 5.
yeah,
But
they came.
Well, the infringement happened before then. But in any case, he's not on the mark.
yeah, so
But he's behind the mark.
what we want to do
He's
moving
to the
forward
side of it.
with these situations, first of all, make sure that everybody tells the number 9 before the game that the penalty is not where the referee is, it's where the infringement occurred. And if they're not sure, they can ask you and you can point to it. So that's the number one thing, that you make sure you tell all the number 9s in the pre-match before the games, especially in these games, because we're going to get to these situations. If you're in a situation like this, or where there's foul play and you want to talk to a player, you double whistle with your arm in the air, stop the game, separate the players, talk to them, and then you award the penalty. So as soon as you put your arm up for the penalty, you're creating that situation that there can be a quick tap. So if you put your arm up for the penalty, you have to be aware that there could be a quick tap, right? So just think of it in that way. Where the infringement occurred here.
Hey, no, I'm sorry, Tim. I think so. If you watch the video through, I tell him to go take it back through the mark.
Oh, so you pointed him over to the mark. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's just a fascinating piece of business because Cal Poly loses the line out and then all hell breaks loose.
I know.
For the next 70 minutes.
I know.
So that's great. That's good learnings for me. Thank you. That's great.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Tig. Look, we're on time. Are you still there, Stephen, or you off?
He had a meeting to go off to.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Right. Let's move on. Ben and Bob, are you with us? Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richard. How's it going?
Great. And yourself?
Doing pretty well.
Over to you.
Yeah, so kind of similar to Steven's game. The scoreline, I think, doesn't reflect maybe the skill level of both teams in this. And but Life versus A&M at Life down in Atlanta, played in pretty much nonstop rain. And so pretty miserable kind of climate for all involved. But the teams were like surprisingly, disciplined, and we had a lot of knock-ons and things like that. But surprisingly few scrums collapsed with how much rain was pouring on the field. So I was at least happy with that. Was focusing on effective advantage. Felt like we nailed that.
Indeed.
And focusing on, first infringement, trying to, clear the tackle area, get quick ball. Felt like that was pretty well handled as well. And also was trying to focus on good, pre-engage standards at the scrum, which I felt like we had, but then I think we had some post-engagement, post-set, issues. Life was definitely a dominant scrum in this game, but I think at times struggled to be legally dominant. So that was just kind of a big takeaway of making sure that the team that clearly is, a better scrum is at least doing it properly to be for that. But yeah, so that's kind of all the points that I had. So Bob, do you have anything?
Nah, that was perfect.
Great. Just refresh this. So Where do you want to start?
We do first scrum, which I think should be called first scrum, I think.
Maybe it's not in the folder.
Very top. I think it's at the very top.
Oh, it is in the folder. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think it's very top.
There
Yeah.
we go.
So I think this one is I think far side is where we had issues. So Green Loose Head, obviously on the opposite side of me in this first scrum, but I think just the point here was, something to note what happens with the red tight head, and should have been a trigger for me to. You can kind of see the feet of the red tight head on that far side if you kind of slow it down.
Yeah, I'm not going to slow it down, but at least the number 8 was good.
Yeah, so just something to, me and Bob talked about, like, if something like that is happening, it's probably a good idea to spend more time on that side, at least at a minimum, and,
for sure.
And some management if needed, and then obviously escalate too, to just, keep it safe.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just refereeing from every scrum, right? Scrum to scrum.
Yep. Treating them all the same, for sure. Yep. Not letting the foot off the gas. Right.
Which one?
Play on or trip. This one in live is a kick through by Life. And kind of some players get tangled up. Live, I saw this as just kind of a natural collision. Players kind of both going for the ball. On review, if we had TMO, is there something more in this? Possibly penalty try situation. But again, in the moment, Green Captain even had a question, and I was like, I saw it was kind of a natural 2 bodies hit, and take that answer fine. But just kind of it did happen and trigger my brain. I was like, oh, are we happy with this? But
any thoughts out there? Anyone? Bob, what did you think?
I agreed with him. I thought this was a play on because I would have been more concerned if you can see he's just trying to get out of his way. He's just ducking. If that right arm, he sees him going by, goes up high to really get him to do it, then I'd probably think about it differently. But that collision, bang, bang, play on. And no one in the crowd. Everyone was like, whatever, play on.
Anyone else have anything to add, or can we move on? Cool.
Next, foul play after foul play. So this is one a little closer to the AR, I think. But so there's a hit in the air by Red as in first penalty. So that's what I've penalized. Of course, all these bodies kind of get piled up.
Yeah.
And watch what Green, I think 2, who's standing on his feet right now, does.
1, 2.
He just punches him in the back.
Yeah. He got 2 punches in.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the punches?
I didn't. I saw the kind of flashpoint afterwards. I saw kind of the players kind of getting pissed at each other in that area and kind of little back chat back and forth. And so I didn't see the actual strike. And honestly, I think I was really focusing on the player who was going down to make sure, he wasn't landing on his head or neck. See if we need to escalate the penalty by Red. But I think after Bob and I talked and seeing that, if maybe someone had buzzed in with the AR, that'd probably be a good opportunity to maybe flip that penalty. At a minimum. I mean, maybe that's something more than a penalty.
Totally. Send him off. Yellow card. Send him away. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a dirty player. And this is number 2 live?
I believe that's hooker right there.
Okay, that's great.
So
we'll send him an email. That's not terrible.
Ceiling.
Ben, AR didn't react at all for you?
I didn't get any comments, and the radios are waterlogged by this point. The radios are not very functional.
And you didn't put a flag out either then?
Nope.
Okay, thanks.
So this is we have the body position of a good player and a good support position, offensive support, but he's bound on his play on the ground. And I played on from this and so I kind of want to get opinions of, is there anything wrong with this? Because this is a pretty, parallel position, I feel like, with the body. But then he's kind of driven back with his tackle player on the ground, kind of coming with him in the counter ruck. So haven't seen this really a lot since they kind of put out more pictures of this position, this body position. I feel like that they're, with the green check mark, like this is okay.
I mean, like, I think it was in 2013 where they said, and I think a lot of it to do with sevens, is that they said that you can bind on your player on the ground, and even if you get pushed back, and you can still keep holding on to them.
Yeah, he did.
So which he did, and he got pushed back. So I mean, I don't think there's been nothing about anyone saying that you can't do it, right?
Yeah.
So I was pretty. I remember exactly the moment I found out about it, and I was pretty shocked that they would allow that, but they do. But you don't see that often in 15s, right?
The one thing you might think about is, did that ball carrier just sort of lay there like a log rather than meet his obligation to move away?
Yeah, that was my thought. It was like the tackle player's obligation was like, if anything was going to be penalized, maybe him.
Yeah, that's if you're going to go with a penalty, go there, and he's not material until the good counter ruck happens.
The way that you can reward these players for basically counter rucking effectively is as soon as it eventually stopped, green went off their feet, right? So it would be a good way to then go and reward the team for the positive counter ruck, because you see eventually, like, they get back, and eventually they just go to ground there. So as soon as they go to ground, you could penalize them and just go like, stay on your feet. and then you're rewarding the team that's positive, right?
Yeah.
So that would be the one thing. I don't really want any of us to be going and trying to penalize the ball carrier here, because we're going to start looking for things and try. We're going to get back into what the law actually says, that the ball carrier's got to get up and move away, right? Which they've never done ever in the history of rugby. Let's start that. It'll be something new.
And I think nose job is the last one. So this is kind of a funny clip. You can see my face on the video right now. You can see my black eye. So this is just watch out for players running in front of you and stopping.
Oh.
Yeah, thankfully not broken, just a big bruise and turned into a black eye. But I had 3 minutes left in the game, so we finished it off. But yeah, it was.
You okay?
Yeah, just a bruise. Thankfully, I broke it playing 10 years ago, so this is a much better outcome
wow.
than that. Actually led me to be a referee. A referee fixed it on the field 10 years ago, and then became a ref a year later.
Well, if you had red carded that other hooker, maybe this one wouldn't be on the field now.
Yeah, there it is.
The substitute hooker, right? Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy. Are you okay though?
Oh yeah. Just a bruise. Honestly, just a big contusion. So nose is straight. They did the test. No broken. All straight. No crooked. So can breathe. Didn't bleed out of my nose at all. So.
It's weird though, right? Yeah. Sometimes you can break your nose and it doesn't bleed. So weird.
Yeah.
Anyway. Great. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Right. Khalil and Rosalind, hello.
Hello.
All right, so this was a solid game of Planners Yolf rugby. Arizona, I'm sure, did not perform the way they wanted to. BYU, I'm sure, did just what they wanted to do. I'm happy that we got over 100 points. A century of points is always a good day. Overall, it was, in terms of my performance, solid. It felt solid on the day. It felt solid in review. That's it.
Rosalind?
Same. Khalil's show. I'm gonna let him run it. Let me know if you want me to say anything.
Okay. Clips.
A lot of clips. Where are my clips?
Back
There we go. Okay.
feet.
Let's go from the bottom up if there are none on the second page.
Let me go and check second page quickly so we know. Oh, there's
That's
one.
perfect. Start from the top and then the bottom up. So
Okay.
my thinking here is, so white is in the shadow of their, or putting their shadow on their goal line. And they were under a scrum advantage for them. And I thought that since they were not scrambling to maintain the ball or possess the ball even, and they had options to not do what they did, which was a box kick, advantage gained. The reason I question if it was actually gained is because it was not like the classic picture of like a box kick to clear your lines.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite make it a touch, I think is what happens here. But you see me put my hands in the air, and one of the white coaches puts his hands in the air as well, to mirror me, I think. Anyway, I stand by my decision, but just like, should I calibrate this differently?
So I don't think there's anything wrong with playing through this. The only thing that I might like to see you do is that once there's a turnover and they get to this point where they're here, is that I'd like to see you do a bit more work to make sure you keep all these blue players on side, right? So you just push them back a little bit to make sure that they actually very, very much on side, to just allow for that advantage to accrue, than just here, because you can see all the pressure they're putting here, right? So just think if you're on this side of the field, you could be pushing them back a little bit.
Yep.
Just to create that environment. And that's about it. But I mean, like, it's advantage over, right? It's not like he sliced it. It's a good enough kick. Yeah. Anyone have any different thoughts on that?
I did, but that's why we're talking about it. So I'm happy with what you guys say.
What were your thoughts, Rosa?
Well, because it was scrum advantage, and it's not that I disagree with, Khalil's logic is good, but I was like, wow, they're under so much pressure there. Wouldn't it have been nice to let them set up? They would have box kicked anyway, would they have gotten a better one? But I think you could go either way, and it's not that he's wrong. I just have another.
Was White strong in their scrum?
Well, there's been no scrums yet. Right?
They're counting the clock down. They're not counting up. So it's only like 5 minutes in.
So you probably haven't had a scrum yet, eh?
I thought we were 36 in.
No.
And 0-0, but we ended up with 100 points?
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
So, had you had a scrum then, Khalil, before that?
No, I don't believe so.
So you were probably anticipating you didn't want to put that pressure on White in the scrum that close to the goal line that early.
Especially since I didn't know who was actually going to be stronger. Turns out to be blue by a hair, but I didn't know at the time.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Hair, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Cool. Now from the bottom.
Okay, immediate penalty kick.
That is the question. Should it have been an immediate? Now, this one was another debate, I guess, between Marsland and myself. I say, do what I did. And she says the other option, never mind the mark. When I give the penalty, it was very wrong.
Okay, so where's the infringement?
It's after the line break. Number 17 is offside. Well, it's not where I put it though. It's much closer to the 22.
Okay.
So there's 17. He never quite makes it.
Oh, 17 is offside. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So my logic here for playing advantage was White was going forward, and if they were able to keep going forward despite that offside, then great, they can get 2 bites of the cherry plus they're down a few points. Where Rosalind mentioned that it could be a good statement setting penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
Khalil,
Oh,
I'm with you.
because
Given location and the fact that Blue's defensive line isn't organized, I think you really had to play advantage here.
So
Roz, did I misrepresent you?
Oh, no. But also I will say that once we discussed it and we realized about the mark, because what I was saying was that it wasn't really clear. It was hard to follow, and you, Richard, you're like, well, what was it again? So it was a little hard to follow. So my point was, if you're going to play advantage this early in the game for something that you want to make sure you maintain space, that was one of the goals, that then maybe if it's clear and obvious, you set a standard. So not that it's wrong, but then when it was the wrong mark, then it's really confusing. You're watching, you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't understand what happened. But meanwhile, I understand the logic that Khalil has. And at the end of the day, I think it's most important, like if his logic is working, and then that's the one we should go with.
I mean, so I'd like to sort of sit between the two of you about where you should give the decision. And I think, you like 10 minutes into the game, Blue are up by 12 points, because their defense was a little bit scrambled. You could play advantage for that moment, but I think here, as soon as they were tackled, if you're going to award that penalty immediately and you all the way almost up to the 22, you would totally say to Blue, you're not going to get away with this today, and White is going to be more energetic, right? They're going to go like, this is great, because I think by the time that the whistle came, probably even the White team might have been a little bit confused, right, about where the infringement was. And I think at this moment, there's definitely a moment for advantage, but it's also definitely a moment for a quicker penalty and just go bam, and you're right there. And the other thing is too, the ARs, when we're speaking to ARs before the game, we need to tell them that when we're playing advantage, they need to be aware of where that mark is. So when you come back for the penalty, they're going to line you up. One of them's got to line you up, right? They can assist you in that. But does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Just to raise that energy of the White team too, and to make sure that the Blue team understands that they're not going to get away with it, because everyone might have been a little bit confused. Penalty try from all.
Yes, this was my only card for the day. So we'll look at it.
Great.
I did. It's for the scrum half there with the red shoes, coming in kind of from the side, like a little bit, and then stopping the try. I did try to call him off, but he was focused on other things. And my process was a bit funky because I was between two minds. I was thinking, do I stand here and card him, or do I give the penalty try then card him? And I split the difference and just kind of walked away while carding him.
Hey, Khalil, it's Kat.
Oh, hi, Kat.
Hi. I don't really see anything illegal with this. That it doesn't scream out to me that it's illegal. I could be in the wrong here. But like when I expect a Maul penalty try, I expect everyone to be like, "Oh yeah, there we go. Holy crap, that guy's an idiot." And I just see kind of like it gets held up,
Sure.
I think. Love another opinion.
And he's
I
already
just think,
got 1 foot in goal when he hits it.
Yeah, but the ball
yeah,
hasn't crossed the goal line yet. That's
I
ball
agree.
hasn't
Yeah,
crossed
that's
the goal
true.
line.
The
Yeah.
ball.
Ball hasn't crossed the goal line, so he's coming in from the side.
Yep.
And if he didn't come in from the side, they wouldn't have held it up, I don't think. I mean, he came in from the side and then he managed to hold it up.
160. I think I got him at like 161.
So it would have to be that if the ball's crossed the line, then the ball's over and they can come in from anywhere, right? But I think at this point he's offside. There he joins.
Yeah, I guess particularly if you're already trying to manage him before you blow the penalty, you kind of box yourself into that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been nicer if you were quicker about this.
You wanted him to score. Just like score down.
You put your arm out for advantage at least or something. But then again, like we had that conversation before, like how do you play advantage for a penalty try, right? But you might have played advantage for a moment.
It was just a very low penalty, not an advantage.
Yeah. I think it's because it's so close to the goal line and it went down so slowly that it looks like, it looks like it could just be a play on, but it's fair enough. He was offside and the ball was still on.
That's not the next one up. Unless you want to change games randomly in the middle.
Oh, no, sorry, that's mine.
All right. So just again, immediate penalty. I can't remember what this one is for, though. Or play advantage. I was like, oh, I remember this one. I asked the wrong question. Should advantage have been gained because white has that overlap right there? Or should I have blown the whistle immediately? Yeah, it's more what I meant.
So when are you playing advantage? At what point? Here. Oh.
Yeah, the call comes in from the AR, and that's why like the offside has already happened, but now the call is coming in, and so I stick my arm out there.
And you're playing offside. Is this AR here?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Khalil, it's Will.
Hello, Will.
Hello. Did you have an inkling that there were offsides as well on that, or were you just kind of putting trust into your AR that you had seen that?
I like your cynical question. I did have an inkling, which as they start to get closer to onside, does blue. You can see me looking at them the whole time. I don't actually like scan and come back to the ball. So I guess I did have an inkling, and then when she came in, I guess I did look at the ball, but I was looking at them really long. And when she came in with it, I said, "All right, cool. That does confirm whatever I was thinking."
So if you see this play here, it's the one that's probably offside and the one that makes the tackle, right? This one here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Make the tackle. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, we have to ask the question, is playing advantage for white when they 57-19 down and they on their halfway line, not going forward, But I mean, I guess the kick almost went out, and then what? Still, it doesn't matter, right? Even if the kick went out, then it would be Blue's ball.
Well, when it would have been a 50-22, which is why I didn't blow the whistle immediately.
Right, yeah. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah. Or you could have just given the penalty when the player made the tackle, the offside player.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think because the call came in late too, right?
Yep, could have done that too.
Yeah. Well, that's it. No, here's
there's one
Tried
more.
feet. Is this the good one?
This is my good clip, yes. It's not quite a goal line stand, but it'll do.
Excellent.
We had a couple of rock star moments there, rock star movement moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Positioning and running lines are looking good.
Thank you.
Looking good. Yeah. I just think just from all the games that we've watched on the weekend, if we can work with the ARs and also just work with getting everybody back at least another half a step, just so we get very, very clear space between the hindmost point and the defenders. Because I think the defenders are just pushing it a little bit, so, and one of the things we also, was discussing with Jacob this week is if you go and stand another meter sort of a little bit further away from the defense, it also gives you a lot more presence, right? So what happens normally is like we as referees, we're like magnets. So the closer we get to the defense, the closer the defense gets to us, right? So we're all sort of almost on top of each other. So if you just give yourself another half a meter or a meter further back, it's easier to push them back. So anyway, but that's great. Thanks, Khalil.
Thank
you. Stephen got
Thanks,
pretty
Roz.
good space out of both of his teams throughout that game.
Yep. That is correct. Excellent. The last game. Jared is off to Wales to get married. So we have Amanda here. Hi, Amanda.
Hello. Jared and I did our debrief today.
Great.
Yeah, he's dedicated, I guess. Took time out from his wedding plans. But yeah, so good debrief. It was a really good game for him. He was pretty happy with it after the match, and I think he's still pretty pleased after the review. So a little bit high on tackle. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it's a little bit high on the tackle penalty count. There's a couple we in review thought could have been left in the pocket. Other than that, yep, it was a tough day at the scrum. So
yeah,
see in the clips.
Great. And we also have Dustin on the call. So
yeah,
hi Dustin.
How you doing?
Excellent yourself.
Good, very good.
So let's just go through Amanda's clips. Would you want to start, Amanda?
Well, we can just we can either look at the scrum clips or we can start with playing the jumper. It's just pretty basic. Just a reminder that if you have a team that's sacking a lot, you really need to protect the jumper. Safety's number one priority. You'll see White grab the black jumper in the air and pull him down.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and we've actually noticed quite a bit of that. It's all about the timing, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's straightforward. We've actually had quite a lot of those, so it's definitely something that the sack has got to be timed properly. Yeah, it can be very dangerous too.
Hey Amanda, it's Elvie.
Hi Elvie.
Hi. After talking to Jared, was he okay with it, or he didn't think it was a sack? Like, do you know what his process was?
Yeah, I think he just didn't see them get him in the air, so he processed that as a legal sack.
Okay, thanks.
Is it just for clarification? I don't disagree with that at all. But can they bind onto the jumper as he's coming, and once his feet hits, pull back as in that sack, or does he have to have his hands off of him through the whole process?
You can touch him when his feet hit the ground,
but you got to wait till his feet hit the ground. He can't because we were kind of like saying, hey, you can get on him, you just can't move him until his feet hit the ground. And once his feet hit the ground, you're going to time that, so you're going to pull back as soon as his feet hit. And I know it's deep.
It's up to you what picture you want to show the referee, I guess.
Yeah. I would say it is illegal to have hands on him until the moment he hits the ground.
Okay.
If he lands safely and there's a clear stoppage, we as referees aren't going to go chasing that. So it's not like something you've got to line out, kind of hand on him as he goes to the ground, like, ooh, gotcha. But if it looks like that, we're going to penalize it.
100%. I get that. No argument there.
Yep. Which one's next? Are we at the scrums already?
Yeah, I thought I had something else in there, but also possible
Might be on the
I
next
didn't
page.
get it in the folder or
Oh, here
there
we go.
it is.
In front of kicker.
Oh gosh, do you want to leave this one for last?
I think I had that one highlighted too.
Jeez, okay, let's just do it better. We've talked about it so much, right? Let's just do
Okay.
it. Okay, you want to talk through it?
No, I don't want to talk through it. You can show it and then show it in slow motion, and then a referee can talk us through what their thought process is.
Okay, so I'm going to go very slowly here.
Or Dustin can talk through his question.
Well, my question is that I know, although incidental, he's in front of the kicker, hits the black player. Is that not offsides? I know it's incidental. I know he didn't mean to play it, but it bounces off and back to the black player. So I guess my question is that offsides?
A charge down with the foot? Is that possible?
It looks like it in the film, but it wasn't a charge down. It went right off the Army guy's back.
It was touched by
It
the
was
white
touched by the white
player,
player's foot, yeah.
and then it goes into the Army player's back. So right there, it's off the foot, and then changes the direction of the ball and
I
hits
see,
the Army player.
Yeah. Play on, baby. That's a charge down.
That's play on.
Okay.
No, it's
Oh
not.
my goodness. Okay, so
No, it's not.
He's still got to retreat, or no? I don't know.
Peter,
That's why I'm asking.
Peter,
It's a
Peter, do
legitimate
you want to
question.
talk about the clarification?
Well, there's clarification back in 2011 where they said a charge down is where a player attempts in close quarters to the kicker, attempts to block the kick.
which is completely opposite to what the law book says now, right?
Well, the law book set now doesn't really define charge down. I mean, it says that it's if it goes forward off the hands in that situation, it's not a knock on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't clarify what a charge down is.
So we had a clarification in March that a charge down by a very obscure, not definition, whatever, a charge down must go forward. So under that, this is not a charge down.
Okay, so I'll read this email to you first. It's from Tapa Henning. He's one of the people who wrote the law book. From a technical law perspective, it is penalty kick for offside in this situation. Ball comes off the white player's leg. The ball is touched by the player, which does not put other black players onside under law 10.4c. So he's talking about the interpretation is that it has to come off the hand or arms. So a knock on a charge out cannot be applied when the ball does not touch the arms or hands of the white player. It does not apply when the ball is touched by a player on the legs or body. When looking at the intention and actions of the white player, it is to charge it down. From a game perspective, I can understand if the referee plays through this under a charge down application. However, technically not correct in law.
Richard, this is Tig. I'm not going to even, because in fact, I think even Tepe would say if he blocked it with his chest and it went back the other way, he's going to claim that's not a charge down. I just don't think there's anything in law that actually supports that answer.
Okay, I can forward you his email if you want, but it says under 11.5b, I think he mentions that it's got to go forward off the arms. And I think that's exactly what Kat said too, right?
Yeah, because the clip they were showing is from the Premiership game where it hits a player's arm and then lands in the arms of an opponent way upfield and he goes and scores a try. We were told that that is technically incorrect because a charge down
Ball has to go forward.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to go forward and goes off the arms, and goes off the arms because they basically saying it's not a knockdown. But if it hits any other part of the body, it's just general play still.
Yeah.
So
11.5a is the law that you're looking at.
11.5a.
So,
Okay.
I mean, also Tig, just to confirm, I did speak with Keith Lewis today, and he agreed with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he says the charge down exception in law 11.5a by implication applies when the ball is touched or knocked forward with the hands or arms immediately after a kick.
Although to continue, sorry, Richard, go ahead.
No, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, then you can get to accidental offside from here. In that clip, it's probably the best decision.
Yeah.
If you process it, which you may not in real time, in which case everybody agrees play on is perfectly acceptable.
Serious question. Could it be considered intentional touching by White and therefore the black player is not in front of his last teammate who played it?
Well, he's offside under 10.4c, so no action of the white player can put him onside.
Yeah.
I love
So where do the black players have to retreat to be onside? Do they have to go?
They had to disappear, basically.
They would have to go back to the goal line.
They would have to all stand there, put their arms in the air, and not play the ball.
Consequences of a lousy kick.
Yeah. But again,
Richard,
I mean,
Richard, go back to that again, that clip again.
Let's wait. Keith, Peter, and I are going to go another round on this one.
Okay, no. But hang on a sec. We can't keep going through this clip. We've got many other clips to go through.
No, but
there is another point.
Should be penalty to black at the black 10-meter line. White 14, I don't think was legal.
Because why?
He was in front of the kicker.
He was offside at the original kick.
And the kicker the kicker never caught up with him.
Okay, well, if we ignore that, I think just looking at the specific situation.
No, he's right. No,
that's the kicker.
He's outside.
That's the kicker who charged it down.
That's 14. 14 passed the ball to the kicker.
He's right here. He's on the right of the outside. No, he's the kicker.
The video evidence is inconclusive because they could be passing each other in the time where we can't see that.
He passed him the ball to the outside.
Oh my goodness. Amanda, are you still with us?
That's why it's fun, right?
I'm here.
Okay, so where are we now?
Let's talk about scrums.
Okay, great. Let's do it. Okay, should I play it or do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, you can play this, but there's a lot of stuff to look at in this scrum.
That's true.
So this is pretty dangerous for black too.
Yeah.
Which Jared and I didn't actually discuss this one in detail as far as what he was looking at and why he didn't recognize the situation at the moment. So,
yeah.
But also the other concerning thing is the white tight head not allowing the black loose head to get his bind.
Yep.
And then cranking down.
Cranking down, twisting.
Twisting, yeah.
Pushing in. So let's just pause it here for a moment. If anybody sees a player in the scrum going up in the air with their feet not on the ground, you have to stop the game. you have to stop the game because this is very dangerous. So you just have to stop the game.
Yeah.
And first of all, one thing we want to ask our ARs, at least at the scrum, is that they have to make sure that everyone's binding properly. So players have got to bind on the body, bind on the body. This player is not even binding. He's just got his arm around the other player's arm, and then he twists the player immediately. I mean, you can see like he's twisting his whole body in. Look at that. I mean, that's just crazy, right? And then it looks like the loose set is coming in there as well, and then everything just goes to the dogs. But this is dangerous stuff, and we need to not have that happen, right? So get your ARs to help you.
Full disclosure, I don't teach that to stop that bind. It's long along the back and make it hard for the bind, but not like that. Just full disclosure.
Got to bind on the body, yeah. Got to bind on the body, and I think like the ARs can help us as referees to make sure we get that right, because we want to make sure nobody gets hurt in these situations. Number 2, Amanda.
Yes. So this is just another scrum where you can see if we're using elbows up as a cue, this never meets that standard. So just something you can easily spot as a ref and probably take corrective action on.
Yeah.
Which may have prevented, the white tight head from torquing it.
Yeah. So, and I think that for referees, the thing to look at here is that there's a difference between the loose head just hinging and going shoulders down, and the tight head just pulling it down and leaning on the player and pulling it down. It's two completely different things. When the loose head's hinging, they're basically hinging, which means that their body just folds closed and they go down, because they can't hold the pressure. But this is a completely different thing that's happening here. You see the player just hanging.
Yeah, it starts at the shoulder and his body twists, whereas with a hinge, he would just flop straight. I don't know how to explain it.
So just for clarification, are you saying the tight head pulled that down? Because it looks like he's got a long bind. He looks like he's got a long bind on there, even through.
He has a bind under the armpit, and he's twisted the player across from him.
He's done that all day, and I think what happens normally is that if there's a hinge, you'll see this player's body just goes like this. It's like a straight hinge on the engage. So normally on the engage, if it's going to hinge, it's going to hinge on the when the referee goes set, they're going to go boom, it's going to go straight down. But this is not. This goes down slowly. When it's going down slowly, it's because the tight head is actually twisting and putting the player down.
Visual cue for the hinge is the shoulders are lower than their ass.
Right.
For when you're looking at it. With this, and Jared sent me these clips after the weekend. The white 3 is the majority of the game is bind. It's like he thinks it's the 1970s binding. His elbow is down and he's turning in.
Yeah.
So that's the visual cue. Watch this game if you want to know about tight head binding and what's not long and strong is to watch the white 3 when he's camera side.
Yeah, and sometimes he's like right on the point of the shoulder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he just changes it the whole game. He just goes all over the place, and he does a pretty good job of getting away with it. And this is the last one, Amanda.
Yep. So this is the end of the match, and they get rewarded.
Yeah. I'm seeing the same thing again.
Yep. And it's a pretty clear picture of the exact same negative behavior.
Yeah.
And this was a super tight match.
Yeah.
Super tight's not the word. It was a great game. It was a great competition, actually.
It was a great game. And it was well refereed.
Yeah. I think, as was mentioned earlier, too, just to remember the difference between when that scrum goes down. Normally, if it's on the set that it just flops down, on most occasions would be the loose head. And if it sort of twist goes down a lot slower, it's normally the tight head. But we also don't want you to guess. You got to be able to see this going on. And the sort of easiest thing you can do is to ask your ARs to make sure that they are looking for those long binds on the body or the back, right? Not looking for the short ones. So at least they can give you some information. They don't necessarily have to go, oh, penalty this way, penalty that way, because you don't want the ARs to guess, especially when they get sort of beyond 10, 15 meters. It's not that easy for them to see. So, but use them to help you. Are those all the ones that you had, Amanda?
Yep, those are the ones that I put in, and I know Dustin has some that Jared and I have spoken about as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I probably went a little overboard, obviously, but I wasn't. I was trying to show clips of where my thing was I just felt like I felt like he was trying to set a precedent early on, and it's particularly in the first half. It just didn't. It wasn't held to the same standard all the way through. It was kind of like so some of the clips that I have are just, they're actually penalties against us that I'm going, and then with a follow-up clip saying, here's the same exact move. It's not equally called. But I did have a couple questions. There's one that didn't get highlighted here, was just the very first clip that I put on there was, where was the offsides? And this is the very first minute of the game, and it leads to a score. So
we tagged this in review as well, and we agree that it should not have been called offside.
Yeah, I was just curious because it was a knock on, so there wasn't even a ruck set at that point in time. So I was like, and I remember sitting on the stands going, why did he call offsides? Like, they're backing up. It's the very first clip.
At the bottom.
Right, where was the offsides I put?
Sorry. Where was offsides? Here we go. Yep.
And so he's telling my player to move back, and he's backing up as it goes on, but there's a knock on. And so that means no ruck set. So I was curious, why do we get stopped right there? And that ends up being an offsides call, which ends up to a line out, which leads to their first score of the game.
Amanda?
Yep. So this retreating white player here never got onside. I think that's debatable whether there's a ruck or a ruck-like formation that made an offside line. But the ball gets turned over to white, and so we both agreed Jared kind of cued on something that was there but should have just been ignored, because now white has the ball, so he's not really offside.
Okay. So he was penalizing this player here, number 2.
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah.
He was retreating. He was working to get back on side.
He was, but he was
But the ball was knocked
offside.
on. Yeah, it was knocked on before he could get completely onside before the ruck was set.
So I already told you that we agree this call should have been left, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to argue with you.
Great.
That's not my
Sounds argumentative.
Okay. Get back to these clips. Which one do you want to...
I think you just had him. We had him tagged as. Oh, did you go through and tag them all? I had them. I sent you an email with the ones I wanted to go over.
Yeah. So I think I put all of them in here. I just missed the offside one, so I put 6 of them in here.
Yeah. Then the not rolling at 9:06.
Ooh, I don't know which time this one was.
It would have been on the first in the first page.
Yeah. This is it. 9:06. Oh yeah.
So I think anytime your player is on the wrong side of the ball, they're liable for a penalty. And then,
but
are you going to let me finish speaking, or did you want to talk?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. So anytime your player is on the wrong side of the ball, they're liable for a penalty. You're showing the referee a picture of a penalty, right? So then he has to process whether that penalty is material. And in the moment, sometimes that's hard to do. So what you're saying is inconsistency is really whether we've processed that clear picture of someone on the wrong side of the ball as immaterial or material.
I understand that. This particular one, I just don't see where there's no rolling away. There's nobody impeding the offense's ability to play the ball. They're both out of the
That
way.
player is directly in front of the ball and directly in front of the
But he's
path
still
of
into the
black
tackle.
4.
He's still into the tackle, though.
He is directly in the path of black 4. Now, this
That's
is one
really quick standard, though. That's really quick. He's
we
not even through
agree,
his
actually.
process.
And both Jared and I agreed that this one, if he'd have given it another second to breathe, maybe it all worked out and he could have played on.
Yeah.
But you can see there's a clear picture of your player on the wrong side of the ball.
I understand that, but
Yep,
it's just
cool.
while you're
Let's
in the
look
air,
at another one.
you can't roll out while you're in the air. Is all I'm saying. I mean, that's a tough call for me because again, it's just a high pressure area for us, right?
Yep, and for us, it's one where we would have liked him to let it breathe another second before he made the call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because Black got the ball back anyway, right?
Yeah, it was a penalty. It was in a line out.
No, I'm saying if he played on, Black got the ball back anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next one? Side entry, double move.
Yeah, this is a really good clip, actually. Is this the one I think it is? Oh no, this is the try, right?
Yeah, there was two things I was looking at on this one in particular.
We're looking at this play here.
If you see, if you stop right here, my player's on the side. He comes from the ruck's set from behind. You have two players there. Yeah. Gentleman comes right across referee's front and comes in from the side and removes my player. So that's the first, for me, that was the first penalty in that series. That then it goes to a score right after this. And then the score, I mean, I might be being a little nitpicky on that, but he just army crawls. He elbow crawls 2 or 3 times into the try zone before placing the ball.
I really feel like this try is momentum. There's one movement and one stretch out. He doesn't propel himself. From my point of view, I'm welcome to hear other people's. It could be 50-50,
I thought he got
on first look, this didn't jump out to me as a double movement. I'm just seeing it now for the first time. I give that as a try.
Yeah, I think it's to call it a double movement would be surprising.
Yeah, it's just that I think on the far side he moved his left elbow first, right? And then he scores over with the right. So I don't know if we had another angle, maybe.
I feel like he puts that elbow down so that he can stretch and score the try rather than putting it down short. But yep, another angle would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on this first incident, Amanda?
We did not pick up that side entry in review. And actually, if you play it a little further, there's another one at the next ruck too, before the try is scored.
Between Cal Poly and your California Golden Bears.
Are we saying there's a side entry by Black here?
In that clip prior, there was.
The problem is the black player coming from the side is taking out a white player who's coming from the side.
I see a black player coming from his own goal line.
So
I'm looking. When I look at from the side, I'm looking at someone who's got their ass to the touch line, absolutely coming in and taking out a threat, not someone who's coming from their own goal line.
So we're talking about this player here, right?
So yeah,
12's there, and then players, the way he's pointing at the black player right now with his hand in the air.
I think for me, it's that he doesn't enter from last foot. He enters in front of his player who's already in the ruck to target 12's hip and get him out of there.
Yes.
To be fair, though, Black was probably going to keep possession of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the ball's already won. Maybe for me, maybe worth a word, but again, that's not a clear enough
Yeah, there's
victory.
so much going on at a goal line stand. I don't know.
I just
keep
saw it went
alongside.
right across his face. So to me, it looked like because there was a ruck set with his two guys behind, like Amanda had said. That was my you had to enter from that last man from behind. You can't enter from the side of that and set a new spot. Was my
Yeah, I mean the only sort of trend that's here that they wanted us to get at was you're not going to take someone out that far beyond the breakdown, right? So there's a couple of different things here, and I mean it's very difficult for a referee to pick that up. You know, we definitely need a TMO in this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And more cameras. Yeah, I think that this one was just pretty straightforward, right? It doesn't matter whether it was straight out or not, right?
It was tagged in review by the referee as an error. He thought that the white player had taken it out of the 22. As you can see, it's very, very close.
So this is the only complaint I'll make about the game, and it's not about the referee. It's about the line judge because he overturned a couple calls, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and this is just me being a little bit of a sore loser, but he was marching off an extra 10 meters for Army like every single time. Like it was egregious in my opinion. And so when he actually consulted with the sideline judge, the same one that was calling those all game, I was just mad about it.
Yeah.
Probably some of these clips I'm probably being emotional. I can admit it.
Yeah. I think this double movement you also discussed was pretty straightforward, Amanda.
Yeah, so this double move again, this is like the standard. So in the first, I highlighted one that I didn't say to look at, but my player and in my notes I said I completely agree with it because he did get held in the tackle and he lurched forward. But this is at the very end of the game, right here, and their Army player does the exact same thing, and we get the penalty, and we get a penalty called against us at the same time.
Yes, the double movement happened before the side entry. The black player changes the gate, and should have been a penalty the other direction.
And so that's where I was saying like that standard being held, like that obviously need to be in.
Sorry about all the commotion going on there. I didn't realize one of the other videos started playing again.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then we can just skip the knock on if you want to look at that one. So this is the line judge reversed this call. For me, it's even if he says they went through his hands and him in the knees, the player that catches and plays the ball still is in an offsides position because that'd be technically a kick. So I feel like that should be a penalty in my book, but it's just me. And I'm picking on the line judge more than I am the sir because I know he can't be everywhere and see everything. And I know you don't have control of line judges, but
so Jared was pretty happy with this process. And we don't really think the player who played the ball was offside.
You don't think he was in front of him?
Seems pretty lateral to me. It'd be tough to stop the game for that.
Yeah, by the time he plays it, he's lateral with the person that first knocked it.
Yeah, and Jared is,
but then he gets in line.
Jared's in an excellent position to judge that. Much better than our camera angle is. So.
I got you. Okay.
Here we are.
And then just the last play of the game, and I know I'm probably going to lose this one here, but I think it's an interesting call. And I'm going to go with my other clips I have just setting that standard. But in my argument, I believe that his momentum kind of carries him through, and he's holding the ball in, but the poacher isn't over top of the ball. Even when it hits the ground, the poacher isn't over top of the ball. So he's over the top of my guy's legs in the motion, and he gets one roll and places it, and they pull him backward, which looks like another movement, but it's not. That's just my intro. And this is what.
Yeah, it's a clear extra roll for us.
So if you slow that, I mean, obviously you can't just, you're not going to go for slow, but there's space there that he falls into. So his knees aren't down. He's falling into that momentum.
And now he rolls directly over the top of the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the call that thinks it shouldn't be a penalty? Okay.
Oh no, shouldn't be a penalty? No, I will stop talking. It should be a penalty. It changes the jackal position. There's a black player on his feet ready to jackal, and the reason he can't is because he takes that extra roll.
Yeah.
But you don't believe that his momentum in that space, because he's falling into that space, gives him the ability.
His momentum gets him to that first jackal spot, and then that extra roll moves him an extra meter.
Then my next question would be: is if he's still in that tackle, is a jackler legally able to jackal then?
He's on the ground with the ball. A player on his feet is legally allowed to play that ball.
Not if he's helping the tackle from the last.
I don't see a tackler still in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So the last two, I know this meeting is getting
long.
It's getting on very long, but I just wanted to have this discussion with Adam Leal about, what are they doing in the Premiership in England with the Maul changing lanes and what's not changing lanes, and it's very tight, right? And how he said that they decided that they're going to referee it in England is that if the defense managed to stop them all and then the attack pull it around and shear to the side, that they're going to, and they basically got players go in the front with the ball behind them, they're going to penalize that. But they said if it's a dynamic situation, and I'll show you an example of a dynamic situation, and they keep moving and the ball turns and they keep moving and they've always been moving and going forward, then it's going to be play on. So I just got these two examples to show you. So this one, he said that they would penalize for lane change against the white team. They're going to change lane to the left. Like I was saying, that black effectively stopped them here. And, black was dominating, and then suddenly they go and turn it around and they break off and they change lanes. So he said that in England, the RFU, they would penalize that. And I know it's a very, very tight call, but they're basically saying if the defense have been dominant in stopping that Maul, that they would penalize it. And then they said that this example would be one of not changing lanes, even though the Maul is spinning around. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So if the defense are dominant and they stop the Maul and then they pull it around and shear off to the side, that's going to be penalized with obstruction. If it's dynamic and always moving, then you play on.
So, Richard, you're saying the question is, did the defense earn the penalty?
Yep. Absolutely, yeah. That's pretty much how they approach it. And so it's a little simpler because, we've had so many discussions about Mauls where we get, back and forth whether it's obstruction or not. But that's the way that he said they refereed an RFU, and I think it's a pretty good approach for us to take. So I think that's the end of the meeting. Dustin, thanks for joining us and the input, and contributing to a very, very exciting game. I know that game could have gone both ways.
Yeah, and once again, as always, I appreciate you guys, having a venue that obviously they're worth talking about, and I learn a lot just listening to you guys kind of go over stuff. So I appreciate it as well.
And vice versa, it's really important for us as referees to know what the coaches are trying to achieve out there too. And we do also understand that sometimes players do things that are never coached, you know. I'm sure sometimes we go,
right.
How did that happen? And the coaches are probably saying the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, scrum practice, we didn't talk about any of that stuff. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. He's not South African, is he?
No, he's not. He's my
Okay.
my fourth year tight head.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well done for and for contributing to a good season. Really appreciate all the coaches on here and the referees. I'm not going to go through a summary now. I will email out a summary and also a link to the video and the clips. And thanks for those that stayed on for so long to the meeting. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody. Good night.